Hey, welcome back to Wednesday Words. We're in Colossians chapter 3, verse 12, and we're looking at some of the virtues. This is the verse that we are studying. Therefore, as God's chosen ones, holy and dearly loved, put on compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. We talked a few weeks ago at the top of this series that it's so important for us to understand that we are dearly loved, that we've been made holy and set apart for God's purposes, and that we are chosen. And that when we understand those things, and when those things are true of us, because we are sons and daughters of Jesus Christ, when those things are true of us, then we are able to put these virtues on. We're able to live in these virtues. And so a couple weeks ago, we talked about what it meant to put on compassion. Last week, we talked about what it meant to put on kindness. And this week, we are going to look at humility, which I think we all could use more of this virtue. I mean, we do not have to look far on social media or online or on Twitter feeds or Facebook and to see that there is a lack of humility. And I put myself right in the middle of that. Paul says, though, that this is so important for us to put this virtue on, for us to be humble people. And we really can only know what that means or what that looks like when we look to Jesus Christ. And so I want us to turn back just a few pages to Philippians chapter 2. And I want you to hear what Paul has to say about Jesus and what he tells us to do as a result of Jesus. First of all, in chapter 2, verse 3 of Philippians, he says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or conceit. So we could just stop ourselves a lot of times because he says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or conceit. We could just ask ourselves, is this move that I'm about to make out of either one of those things? And he says, but in humility, there's our word, but in humility, consider others as more important than yourselves. Everyone should look out for not only for his interests, but also for the interests of others. And then he says this, adopt the same attitude as that of Christ Jesus, who existing in the form of God did not consider equality with God as something to be exploited or as something to be grasped or held onto. That has always meant a lot to me because Jesus Christ humbled himself by coming to earth and giving his life, even all the way to death on a cross, because he did not consider the equality with God as something that he had to hold onto. And this has been very helpful when I think about putting on humility. There have been times where I have seen the success of other people and I have been jealous. There have been times where I have seen other people get what I want, and it has made me jealous, and my pride has risen up. And I have to ask myself, what is it that I am holding on to? What is it that I am grasping that I think that I need? And Paul says, don't do that. Take on the mind of Christ and release that. Jesus released that, and he came and he humbled himself. And so if you're having a hard time being humble, what is it that you're holding on to? Is it your need to be right? Is it something that you want? Is it your need to be seen? Is it your need to be looked at as powerful? I have no idea what it is for you, but what does it look like to let that go and take on the attitude of Jesus Christ? That's what we're going to try to do this week. We're going to try and walk in humility before God and before others.